You can't solve the problem from the same place that created it. I think this is one of those ones that often limits people. And we've spoken about it, and there's 1,000 different ways we can discuss this and come at it. And we've always got to just keep trying different methods until we hit that point that makes you go, oh, ding, there's the thing that makes it clear in my head. There's the thing that makes me get it. But it's one of those problems that arises because most people want to solve the problem staying where they are. We can talk about it in different ways. We can talk about it. You can't read the next chapter while start rereading the old one. You can't step into the future with your feet still planted. You can't make a leap of faith while your feet are on the ground. Like, there's all these things that until you change the environment, you change your mindset, you change how you view the world and the problem, well, you're going to be stuck repeating it. You can't change until that moment changes. And, when we're stuck in the mindset of it, that's why it's so hard to make that leap. Because this place, this version of you, this way of viewing the world led you to this problem. And while you stay in that view of the world, you stay in that mindset, you stay in, this is where I'm at, well, you're going to keep repeating that. That's why yo-yoing in fitness and weight loss and this kind of stuff is so prominent, because the mindset is, I will do this small, intense thing for this period of time, and then I'll revert back to who I am, and we'll just continue on. Well, you do this small, intense period of time, you get the results, and then you go back, and then wonder why you ended up in the same position. Because you didn't actually change who you were. You didn't change the habits, the actions, the mindset, the belief systems. You just temporarily put a Band-Aid over it. It's like going on holiday to a different place. And, let's say we go to Italy. We go on this wonderful holiday and we spend a week or a month in Italy. And it's like, oh, this was incredible. And then going back home and go, well, why aren't I Italian now? Why don't I live like an Italian? Because, well, you reverted back to where you were. You reverted back to who you were at that time. We've often referenced there's, holiday you and normal you. We live our lives differently in these small microcosms because we'll return back to them. We can be adventurous and free and do these things on holidays because we know we'll return to this version of ourselves once it's all said and done. It's the same thing, that you aren't going to truly change until you truly change. The irony of the situation. You have to become a different person if you want to see those results long term. And you have to wrap your head around that at the beginning of the journey. You aren't going to get there at the beginning of the journey, but you have to commit to the concept of, I am willing to change to become that version of me that will serve me long term. I have to let go of these things that I've done in the past and step into a brighter future. I have to step into the version of me that is going to succeed, that is going to do these things. It's the same when they talk about manifestation and these kinds of things. People want to, sit and meditate and visualize, and they're like, I'm so rich, or I'm such in great shape, or whatever it might be, and then they shift back. As soon as the visualization is done, they go back to, oh, woe is me. Look at the fat man in the mirror. Look at the, empty bank account, whatever it might be. Well, you have to embody that version of you. And then over time, over repetitions, you'll become that version. I had this discussion with a friend the other day. And, he calls himself Fat Man in the Arena. I get it. I understand where it's coming from. But he keeps referring to himself as the Fat Man. And I'm like, well, what you're doing won't last because up here, you still see yourself as that guy. And we had to have that conversation because it started happening. He lost the motivation, he lost the drive, he lost those, steps forward because, well, in his head, he's still the fat guy. He's still that dude who emotionally eats. He's still that guy who doesn't exercise. All these kinds of things. He didn't fundamentally change in here, so you can't then change outside. Well, not permanently. It comes back to that thermostat. You know, if your thermostat is set to this weight, this type of person, the fat man, the overweight man, the unhealthy man, whatever it might be, you can change it for a little bit, but if your internal dialogue is still set to that, you're always going to return to that point. So you have to change how you view yourself. You have to change how you show up in that world, because until that happens, you can do all these actions and there'll be this little voice in your head going, well, this isn't you. Cool, do all this stuff. We'll get you back later. It's cool. Don't worry about it. We'll return to this version later. And until you continue to show up, and it's going to take time, it's going to take work, that I am a strong, fit, healthy man. I make choices as a strong, fit, healthy man. You know, what would the healthiest version of you, the fittest version of you, the leanest version of you, whatever the definitions that you want to attach to yourself are, what would that version of you do in these situations? Ask yourself in those capacities, because for as long as you continue to have the dialogue up here that this isn't who you are, well, it's not, as I said, it's not going to last. You're going to keep returning to that old version of you because, well, that's easier. That's who you know. That's how you view yourself. And it's why most people never succeed, because they aren't willing to let go of the old version of them. And it's the same when you're on this journey as well. So let's take a more extreme version of this. Say you're 100 pounds overweight or 200 pounds. My mate he wants to lose 200 pounds. So that's 100 kilos, right? Man's doing incredible. Like, he is on a mission, and I think he's down 50 pounds already in less than 6 months. And it's slowing. And he's like, I don't know what to do. And I'm like, the version of you that got you this far is not going to get you to the 200 pound mark. Hell, it's probably not even going to get you to the 100 pound mark, because it takes different iterations. As I said, where you're at the beginning, the mindset, the version of you that created this problem cannot fix it, cannot resolve it. So even as you progress, you have to keep leveling up. You have to keep changing it. They talk about the same in finances. You know, the version of you that makes $100,000 is not the same version of you that makes $1 million. The version of you that makes $1 million is not the same version of you that makes $10 million. They are at different levels, and you have to play different games as you get to it. The version of you that gets you to lose the first initial amount of weight isn't the same version of you that gets you to, you know, shredded and diced and six-pack and all that kind of stuff. They are different levels. When you're first starting out, you just have to make subtle changes. You have to make small changes. You have to make that initial version into you, step into better habits, better choices, those kinds of things. But as you progress through that, now you have to dial it in. Now the top tier things, those 5% things matter. Whereas initially, you know, you just have to tick the 90% stuff. You just have to, you know, like in what I teach, we do strength training, we do weighted walks, we dial it in, and you eat an animal-based diet. We don't even need to worry about getting into the nitty-gritties. We don't even need to worry about the other side of things. You do those, drink 4 liters of water, and take a daily photo, you'll get so much further than most other people. But it starts at that point. You got to start with those 90% things, because if you're sitting on the couch doing nothing, we start with that. Now you've lost a shit ton of weight. Now you've dedicated some time into it. Now you've progressed, and now you want to get to the next level. Now you really want to dial it in. Now you want to see how far you can take this, how lean, how shredded, how jacked, whatever the definition is for you, you want to get. Okay, now we need to look at the 5%ers. Now we need to look at, you know, recovery. Now we need to look at sleep. Now we need to look at, you know, where are those macros? How much protein are you getting in? Those kinds of things. We need to push. What's the strength training like? What's the intensity like? What's the weight on the weighted walks? We dial in the next things. But yeah, while you're at the beginning, You just start there. And that's why you have to keep progressing. You can't stay married to this version of you. It comes back to that growth mindset. You have to keep growing. You have to keep elevating. You have to keep pushing it forward, because that's how we get to the next level. That's how we reach the next thing, because you cannot fix the problem you created with this current version of you. You have to become the next version of you and the next version of you. This isn't a one and done. This is a forever process. It's part of the demanding greatness. You are forever demanding greatness on the next level of who you are becoming.